Doom and gloom is not uncommon in the Overwatch community. People are always saying it's dead or it's dying because they decided to take a break from it, but I think for once there's actually some truth to it. There might be some proof that Overwatch 2 is in fact dying or struggling. That's the buzzword for it, it's struggling. Let's have a chat about this right now. Recently, a lot of bigger names, more reputable sources have been referring to Overwatch 2 as something that is struggling, and they're right. One of the root causes to this has to be the PvE fiasco that's been happening since the start of Overwatch 2, and maybe a little bit before that. Around here, we figured this out many days before others did because I like to do snooping. That's all, it's what I'm best at. I could get up in there, I stalked some sources. But the gist of it is, it took forever to release. We only got the 3 missions, and it looks like that's all we'll ever get. They'll just be clogging up the game mode selection screen, just waste of space. Although they kind of already were, because the PvE at best was lackluster and confusing, because, you know, you sell 50 million copies of Overwatch 1, and then put all that money into making a new game. That makes me wonder if they were just using that money to line the pockets of the heads at the top, the corporate stooges. We all knew they were doing that. This is like not a conspiracy theory. We knew that's what was going on. But now PvE has pretty much officially been canned. Despite it supposedly being completely finished, they're just gonna get rid of it and be done with it. And to be honest, it's what they deserve. The poor sales is completely justified. It should have never cost anything, at least for the first few. You know, you give them a taste. It should be something good enough for them to want to come back and spend more for it. Typically, that's how good games work. But even if you didn't want to do that, $15, $5 per mission for something that's over in like 10-15 minutes is not worth it to most people, especially when all of the PvE missions we had gotten prior to that are just waves filled with mindless robots coming at you that are taken down quickly and easily by anybody. Even my unborn son could be running that stuff. It's just too simple and not interesting. If only they would have made it cheaper. You sell $1 million $5 packages compared to 50,000 $15 packages. I'm not a wizard of math, but I think that's pretty good. At least it could have been better than this. Because content creators still would have noticed how lackluster it was, but they would have said, for $5, you might as well just give it a try. Assumingly, to circumnavigate all the bad press that will be coming after the PvE is officially canceled, if that hasn't already happened yet, you know, it's gonna take me a little bit to edit this. They've promised their first good changes to Overwatch 2. But how good really are they? Changes might not even be the right word here, as they're just rehashing the last dev team's good ideas. They pushed the delete button on Overwatch 1 to crank up the monetization to steal your mother's credit card levels, and promised PvE that is probably never going to see completion. Sure, Overwatch 1 had loot boxes, which are considered taboo by today's standards. Not to my boy X and I. No, we love the Gamba. Most people didn't bother speaking out because you could earn the gacha experience just by playing the game. Most people never even bothered to buy loot boxes. And if they did, it wasn't that much of a burden. It was $1 or $2, I assume. I don't really remember. Before you go deep diving into my content to expose the hypocrite Dottie, please note that my video of me opening 100+ loot boxes was not funded by myself, but by a strange Canadian. So in Overwatch 1, you can have the microtransactions earned through the game for free. Remember that. What other pro player quality of life did Overwatch 1 feature? Access to every hero once you start the game. Also, any new additions went right into the gamer's possession. So with the additions of adding premium currency to the Battle Pass, which is already a staple of every single quality Battle Pass in gaming, not you, Valorant, and have the right to play any hero whenever, do we really consider these massive W's? Or is it more like just reclaiming obvious features that absence did a lot of harm for a very long time? That one. It's that one. When we transitioned to Overwatch 2, it was depressing to say the least. Nobody has enough kidneys to support the MTX machine. No matter how perfect Cassidy looks as Spike. Oh god. Never mind. So, Bobby Kotick was shown the door, and now it's all peace and butterflies in the world of Overwatch. No longer do the leeches pollute the waters. But is it too late? Sorry if I'm coming on a little intense. I don't mean to scare you, but there's a lot to talk about here. I'm just warning you right now, we got so much more to go. It's so much. I know. Gamers are incredibly sensible and could never possibly hold grudges, but their attention span, oof. If only we could squeeze TikTok levels of entertainment into the gaming industry. Don't even think about it. The sequel to a game that sold 50 million copies. That's a lot. And yet still somehow charge an arm and a leg for microtransactions despite this has started a redemption arc. Or at least that's what some will call this. And it's certainly an attempt, but it's going to require a lot more than this. The simplest gestures of goodwill are a meager start, as only the ones playing the game are paying any attention to what's going on with it. There are some indicators that the player count is low. The obvious one, these changes being made to the predatory system in place. Hooray! Dig a little deeper and you find that Blizzard bonuses are not being handed out due to poor performance. That makes sense. Take it out on the workers and not bad business decisions at the top from the very beginning. I would guess player counts might look similar to the end of Overwatch 1, as sometimes competitive matchmaking can take upwards of 10 minutes. Not good. Nobody wants to wait 10 minutes to get thrown into an MMR system that punishes success with lopsided matchmaking. The skill-based matchmaking comes for us all someday. Even you. Although I've noticed in recent sessions that the MMR doesn't seem as evil as seasons prior. The start of Overwatch 2, it felt like it was win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 3, lose 5, win 1, lose 1, lose. It was really rough for basically everyone. The biggest streamers that were playing the game had counters for wins and losses, and some streams would have 2 wins and 13 losses, and it was shocking to see. It definitely felt like they were trying to keep you playing no matter what. You couldn't step away. Eventually you would climb. You're just about to reach diamonds you've been mining for hours. The fact that it doesn't seem as bad now really got me thinking, and that's a lot for a guy like me. So I gotta take a moment. I gotta take a breather, okay? My head hurts from using it. Oh. This has to help. Okay, the noises are gone and I'm good to go. I'm aware I can be pretty negative towards Overwatch. The shills made sure I won't forget on every video. Good job, savers of Blizzard. However, I will note that there has been few, but some, positive changes in Overwatch 2. Some might be subjective, like the removal of a tank, forcing faster, less methodical gameplay, which to some might be a positive. Having Overwatch dumbed down for the COD kids to find it more appealing. I could go either way. I'm lying. I'm a Bastion main, fellas. I would love 2 tanks to melt every single match. Gimme. But I also note that the change is a positive to some, so that's definitely a W. Just not for everyone. One major change that I think should be a staple in any competitive shooter is the added transparency of ranking after every competitive match. Gone are the conspiracy theories that Blizz is keeping you hard stuck after a long dark period. You now can see the average rank of a lobby and no longer have to play 10 matches shrouded in mystery just to find you've ranked down, winning 6 out of 10 matches. So yes, the changes to competitive are a huge dub. How about balancing? To some, constant balancing can make them anxious, but I would consider it a good thing. Tending to heroes and their kits on a regular basis shows that they at least care about the pulse of the player base, even if the changes aren't always great. I've seen some bitching about tanks lately. Again, Chappy main over here. I only want you to suffer, so what? I'm not joking. I live only to spray you down. The steady flow of updates is still a good thing in my book, except when it's new heroes. Mogwai mains are in shambles right now as the historically sought-after hero continues to be nerfed and buffed, nerfed and buffed, nerfed and buffed, damn near every patch. I feel for you gamers. If they ragdolled my Chappy every week like this, I would be upset too. Hopefully they can strike a good balance soon. And that's all we can really do anyways, is keep hoping for good news because there's nowhere else for us to go. No other game feels as good as Overwatch. I will forever hold it close to my heart as long as they don't do anything crazy to my robot boy and his bird companion. That would be crossing a line that you don't even want to think about that, Blizzard. Don't even touch Bastion. Unless you're going to change his ult, which is mid in my opinion. It's too easy to avoid for pretty much every character in the game. So Overwatch is struggling, despite supposedly high player counts. Now that can only mean one thing. Gamers aren't really willing to cough up the cheddar to support the suited sharks in corporate. That is the biggest W of them all. They say to protest with your wallet. With admission of poor sales, it's clear that we did it, boys. It makes sense too, because I've seen a total of 1 of the Cowboy Bebop skins in my lobbies. At one point, Overwatch was one of the greatest IPs of all time. A promising future that would take a lot to derail, and somehow they found a way. they found a way. Proving that greed and laziness will end you in hot water. Look at Fortnite. They've had some hiccups, but generally treat the player with some level of respect. Just make sure not to look at Epic's other IPs. Yikes. Now that Overwatch is seemingly going with a player-first model, I'm highly optimistic, which is crazy to think. I haven't felt good about the future of Overwatch 2 since... Hey. There's a first time for everything, am I right? I still acknowledge that these changes aren't really changes. More so obvious quality of life features that should be present in any healthy, halfway decent live service game. Which, to be fair, that doesn't mean they're totally commonplace outside of Overwatch. Oh, little baby Overwatch didn't make $1 billion in one quarter last year and this year. Oh, are you gonna cry, little baby Blizz? Oh, wait. I'm not supposed to be mad right now. I'm optimistic. Yeah. I'm optometrist about Overwatch 2's future, despite all the struggles. And so can you. Bye. Feed the bird. You're gonna feed my mom? Yeah, you would feed a crackhead. Loser. Don't shoot the bird. What the fuck is your problem, guy? First you don't know how to spell, and then you shoot the bird?
Both of them did it. There's something wrong with them.
Destroy the bird.
Unstable.
Kill the bird.
Okay. I've never in my years, bro.